Hey, good morning, all. Welcome to the Common Good Podcast. It's a beautiful Thursday, 7th of December. And of course, we get to talk to astrophysicist Paul Wallace often on Thursdays around here. So, hey, birder. Hey, professor. Hey, pastor. Hey, astrophysicist. How are things?
Good. We have a beautiful morning here. It was in the high 20s this morning, which is pretty good for here. Yeah.
High 20s. Like things. Was this the first frost of the year?
No, we've had a couple others. A week or so back, we had a string of 26s and 27s for a few days.
Okay.
But it's nice. It feels good out there, and it's beautiful, clear day. Just, it's perfect. It's like between the down here, winter weather's like runs between the 30s in the morning and the 50s in the afternoon. That's normal for winter. So it's really not perfect, which to me is like the perfect weather.
Well, then I'm going to coin a phrase around Minneapolis. I'm going to say we're having a Decatur winter day.
So you're having a similar situation.
We are, yeah. In fact, I picked up a rug from a rug cleaning company, a rug cleaning and repair company. Yep. Side note, didn't know there were entire companies and inside of big warehouses with very sophisticated systems on fixing, cleaning wool rugs.
No, I didn't either. I never heard the phrase carpet repair before.
Yeah, and these are like they'll do carpet, but they also do like rugs. You roll it up, throw it in the back of your car or truck, and bring it in there, and then they give it back to you all rolled up. And like so many things in life, especially conversations with astrophysicist Paul Wallace, like, of course, there are places that fix and clean rugs. Obviously, right? Didn't know they. And this place, I truly think, is called like A1 Rug Repair.
Wow, that's actually the name of it.
Straight out of the cartoons, right? Like A1 Bomb Company or whatever when I was a kid.
Yeah, right.
Roadrunner would buy a bomb.
Acme, yeah.
Just like that. And the fella at the place where I picked it up said yesterday, I said, man, it's a lovely day today. This was yesterday. And he said, well, tomorrow's even going to be better, and I'm going golfing. He's going golfing on December 7th in Minnesota.
Wow, that is a little odd.
Yeah, I wish I had had the phrase, man, I would have loved to have dropped it's a Decatur winter phrase. It's a Decatur winter day around here.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you've got it now. It'll come in handy at some point.
20s in the morning, 50s in the afternoon. It's like a mullet of weather.
Yep.
Well, Alex is telling us 53 in Tampa Bay, partly cloudy. Jim with a beautiful 50 degrees in sunny California. Ventura, California. So people already tuning in bright and early. And it's 50s, apparently going to be 50s everywhere across the country.
Everywhere today.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in my 50s. Are you age-wise?
I'm in my 50s? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm right in the middle of my 50s.
Hey, today's podcast brought to you by the 50s.
That's right. The number 50. Yeah.
That's a great. Perfect. Yeah. Hey, I entitled this because I've realized that I have to title these live streams before we go live. And I often don't go back and change them in the social media streams where these are put out, or on YouTube, our favorite place. I often don't go and change the title or put a new thumbnail up or something. Occasionally that happens. So it usually just stays. So people click on it knowing a title of introduction and assuming something. And very often the guest on with me doesn't know what it is.
Okay.
And I wasn't trying to keep it from anyone. I just didn't really think about it until just the other day with Politico Rob Ryersey. But today's the headline is something along the lines of politics might be bad in America, but in 2024 politics might be something, but the sky is going to be really cool.
The sky is going to be great.
So today we're going to take people on a little journey of the sky and the beautiful surprises that are going to meet us when we gaze up at the skies. But before that, Paul, because you know what'll happen, we'll get it all into this, and then we'll chew up all of our time talking about the important things, and we'll miss out on the nonsense. So let's take care of the of the good nonsense too. I saw when I was scanning through the myriad articles that you can find on what's happening in the sky, there was one about what photography telescope you should buy.
Yeah.
And then there was a long list, like if you're buying a vacuum cleaner or a blender, of like, hey, we've picked out the top ones, and here's the
right.
one we suggest.
Kind of a Consumer Reports kind of deal.
Yes, this one brought to you by Popular Science.
Ah.
And I didn't know that there were telescopes that were also for photography, like that.
Oh yeah.
Do they go on the end of your camera, or does the telescope itself have a?
No. They your camera attaches to them.
That seems so cool.
Yeah.
I've never looked through a telescope at the sky. Still, I've been holding off to do that until I get to the observatory there in Decatur, Georgia. But this seems like a really great thing. And this one one of them that they have on there was like $380.
Yeah.
Which they were saying was pretty good. And then they say they can go up into the thousands. Is that a thing you have? Is that a thing people do and have?
It's a thing that we do, but we don't do it the way that on the scale they're talking about. What we do here, well, we have a couple things. We have our big telescope upstairs here that we use just for public observing. People look into the eyepiece. Okay. They just come up and they say, oh, there's those rings of Saturn. But our students, our majors, are part of a consortium called the SARA Consortium, Southeastern Association for Research in Astronomy, and they have remote access to telescopes in California, the Canary Islands, and Chile. And so they can take images with those telescopes. These are, big meter class telescopes, 1.5 meter wide, that take really good pictures. And they essentially have cameras on those permanently mounted on. But it's kind of what you see here on this list is basically a backyard version of that.
That's what I was wondering. Like, do you have one of those? Do you know people who have one of those? Have you ever thought of buying one of those? Say, as a gift
I never
for
have.
a podcast co-host?
I never have. I never have gotten into astrophotography.
Oh,
never have. Nope.
If someone were going to buy Astrophysicist Paul Wallace, a nice little gift is a astrophotography telescope, the kind of thing, or would you be like, no, I don't even have that kind of camera. I take pictures of birds with my.
Birds. At this point, I've invested all my my meager resources into birds.
Yeah. Why do people take pictures of the things they see when they look up in the sky?
Because they're beautiful.
Okay. Are they really? And it changes enough, and it's really like these things get you a photo? Because now I just can't stop thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for an hour and a half this morning.
Yeah. I mean, you can go, I don't know where there have to be resources online somewhere where you can go and people basically share their space pictures that they take in their backyards. And some of them are phenomenal. I mean, they don't do what Hubble can do.
Sure.
But they do their own thing, and they have everybody's got their own way of going about it, and they're lovely, lovely pictures.
Well, okay. So now I don't know, just kind of.
It's just it's the same reason I take pictures of birds is just because it helps you see things better, and it helps you learn more, and it brings you in a sense closer to what you're.
Sure. Yeah. And I guess it's always made sense for birds and wildlife.
Yeah.
Just it feels like the sky is always always the same, right?
Well, it is, and it is
sort of dead and boring up there.
The planets move around, the moon changes every now and again. We get a supernova, but mostly, it's mostly the same. But there's so much up there. There's so much up there that you could spend a lifetime perfecting your methods. Well,
it seems like if you have a DSLR camera, then $400 might be an interesting way to look at the sky and take photos. And you can see it long. You can look at it a little later. Right.
And the thing about a camera is that you can open the shutter for longer, and really get some nice detail. You know what I'm saying? These are faint images.
Okay.
But you can,
There we go. And now it probably, even though it's a $400, the cheap one of the astrophotography telescope part, then you probably start talking about really getting expensive lenses for your camera.
Oh yeah,
I bet the world of spending money on taking pictures of the sky is endless.
it's as endless as it is for birds. It just or for any long lens kind of photography. Yeah, it doesn't really. Yeah, you can spend as much as you want to, basically.
Yeah, I should stay out of that. I should stay out of that world.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to say anything about this orbit and the astronomers discovering the rare solar system where planets orbit in mathematical harmony? Anything about
Oh,
that?
I just thought it was kind of cool.
So cool.
So what happens in a situation like this is it looks like there's at least this drawing here has 6 planets. I'm not sure. I think there are 6 planets in this other solar system. But the point is that the periods of revolution are in nice ratios. All that means is like the inner planet moves with some, maybe takes a certain amount of time to go around once, and the next planet out might take exactly 1.5 times as long as the inner
Hmm.
planet, and the next one out may take exactly 1.5 times more than the second planet. So the speed
Wow.
the ratios of periods are nice simple ratios like that. And it's a little uncommon to find a solar system like that
Huh.
where the planets orbit that way.
Right. Fascinating.
Yeah.
I bet this is so satisfying to those certain personalities that just like things to sort of,
Order.
be orderly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
finally, there's one solar system where they would prefer living if they could live there. I bet
Yeah.
they dream of a day when they.
Yeah.
What is the name of that solar system? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the name of the star. It would just be named after the
After the star.
so-called host star. Yeah, those sort of resonances happen in the solar system, but not among the planets. They happen among moons. Like Jupiter's moons do the same thing.
Uh huh. Boy.
Saturn's moons, so forth and so on. But to have those resonances occur between planets is a little unusual.
Well, super fun. So we should find the name of that and be able to say in nerdy math sky humor, like, hey, we're not, this Earth isn't orbiting around
Right. What do you expect?
biocular 439 or whatever whatever name we chose to give to that star. Yeah. If you want to go live in that world, you just go ahead.
That's
Hey,
right.
if Trump is elected, why don't you move off to one of those planets where things make sense and the
Where
world doesn't
things
seem
make sense.
out of its mind. All right. Well, one of the things we had promised and we exchanged was a list put together by people who pay attention to the sky that there's going to be some beautiful things happening in 2024. And for some reason, they believe that this year is going to be uniquely suited for people who need to get their eyes off of the ground and off of the horizon and up into the skies.
Yep.
Now, one of the things we've been talking about, and in the comments, old man Jim H. Made the comment that on April 8th, the total solar eclipse was going to happen near where he lives in Maine. You and I are still making plans to be, squirreled away somewhere in West Texas
Texas.
on the 8th of April
We'll
to
be
take
there.
in some 4 minutes worth of, non-chemical ecstasy.
And yeah. I can't wait to watch you watch the eclipse.
So friends, we're getting our stuff together on this. So if you want to join this little gaggle of people somewhere in West Texas, and we're not just going to be randomly out there, we will have decided where we're going to be ahead of time and get our location set. Come and join us for the solar eclipse. So that's obviously the big one. I should get this topic off. That's obviously the big one that we have. But
That's the King Daddy.
in 2023 and 2024, they're saying it's going to be the best year for observing the sky. Why are they saying this?
Oh, well, I looked at the list briefly. There's a nice list they provide, and there seems to be a lot of what we call conjunctions.
Okay.
A conjunction is when two planets become very close in the sky, or the moon and a planet become close in the sky, and it just makes for a really nice visual, just naked eye kind of wow, what's that sort of moment.
They should come up with a song like we had on Schoolhouse Rock for that, conjunction
They
junction.
they really should. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's going to be a heck of a list. Oh, and I realize there's also another one about the winter solstice itself. Wow, this article is really quite awesome. We should put a link to this in places.
Yep.
Somebody should find it. It's on the Weather Network if anyone wants to go find it themselves. Maybe we won't be your Google helpers. You can search it up by finding it over on the Weather Network. It's the winter 2023-2024. It could be the best in years for observing the winter sky. All right, Paul, let's chat about it. Let's see if you've already got your favorite picked on this. Let me get these things out of the way. All right, I know it can be a little tough to read, so I can read it more clearly probably on my screen. Okay, so the winter solstice, December 21, 22. That standing day is the winter solstice.
Yep.
The day in which, days in this hemisphere, the sunlight is less and less every day by some matter of minutes until you hit December 21st.
That's right.
It's the shortest. They call it the darkest day.
Yeah, if you think of a day as a 24-hour period, I guess.
Yeah, there's more darkness. I like to think of it as the least amount of sunlight.
Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, of course, in which case it's the longest.
Opposite Friday over there.
Yep.
But even that is just kind of a thing, right? Like people who call it the darkest day, it's a great way to refer to it. They're just using darkness as the measure, and it is the darkest.
Yep.
I use light because I like it when it's bright out. I use light as the reference. So I'm like, it's the day with the least amount of sunlight. Isn't that interesting? Like there, you're just flipping around, how some people see it.
So these days, how early up in Minnesota, what time does the sun go down? Like what time is it basically dusky, getting dark?
Right now, I think sunset is somewhere around 4:40. I think it will get as early as 4:25 p.m. Yeah. And it's up at 7 something. But I feel like a lot of that has to do with this trickery we do on moving our clocks around. Like,
well, we need to have a whole session, a whole show on that. Yeah. On daylight savings time.
Because it seems to be opposite daylight savings time. Like we don't need to go into it now, even though here we go. It seems to be opposite of what you would want to do, right? Like we set our clocks back, so what was 5:30 now becomes 4:30, and now the sun goes down at 4:30. If we hadn't fudged around with the clocks, at least it would have been 5:30. I'm not sure what we're saving with the daylight savings time. And then when it gets closer to the spring and the days are getting light is around longer, then are they just trying to do it for the morning? Is it the morning commute?
I can't remember. It had to do, of course, with farming hours and with saving energy. Back when running lights was super expensive. I don't know, but I feel like we ought to just in the spring we ought to spring forward a half an hour and just stop. Although that might cause riots in the streets if we move forward a half an hour, people might I don't know, not trust that. These days people would be calling conspiracy on that.
Yes, I have a friend that I do a podcast with on Tuesday. I won't name his name, but it's Rob, and he thinks we should be making adjustments on the half hours as well.
Yeah,
I think he's down to 15-minute increments. I'm like, well, that would even
of course. Then us and like Western Europe would be like off by half an hour instead of off by an hour, a certain number of hours, which would be weird.
It's beautiful. Hey, I see a comment. Carl Klein makes a comment here from Facebook saying, I'm glad I won't be around in 2024. I'm wondering if there was a typo in the title of this that said, but the sky in 2204 or 2024. If so, good eye, Carl, and appreciate you bringing it up with great humor. Okay, so winter solstice we have first.
Yep.
That's obviously a big one. And then there's the Jupiter near the waxing moon. I'm going to sort of do
waxing gibbous moon.
Yeah. What is okay? Be gentle again, and don't be mean. A waxing moon means it's getting bigger, or means it's
Bigger.
getting okay.
It's approaching full. It's moving towards full. It's
Okay,
getting
toward
fuller
full.
every day.
And waning is when it's getting smaller. But what is a
Gibbous
gibbous
means
moon?
between halfway full and totally full. So it's kind of egg shaped. You know what I'm talking about
Okay,
when you see the moon and it's sort of oval shaped. It's between halfway full and totally full.
sure.
That's what gibbous means, as
Okay.
opposed to crescent. It's opposed to crescent,
Oh, would it
which
look
means
like a crescent moon, but just be going the other way?
no. It
Oh,
gibbous just simply means that it's more than halfway full, but it's not
okay.
yet full. And
Okay.
whereas the crescent means that it's less than halfway full. Do you see what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So now I'm imagining it. I was just thinking, is the crescent what my mind was going to? Is the crescent moon always crescent in the same shape and direction, or sometimes is the crescent moon?
No, in the northern hemisphere, it is open to the left in the evenings. So if
Uh
you look
huh.
at the moon in the evenings, it'll be tilted, right, but it'll be open to your left. But in the mornings, if you see the crescent moon, it'll be open to your right,
Okay.
to the north,
Hmm.
in the northern hemisphere.
But for us, if I stay in my own hemisphere, in my own beeswax around here, I'm going to always see the crescent shape in the same shape,
Same shape, yes, but it'll
same
be open.
direction.
But no, it'll be open to the left if you're looking. Well, by direction, do you mean left and right, or do you mean north and south?
I don't know. It's just like the curve is the same way. Every time I
Yeah,
look up, there's a
the
crescent
curve is
moon.
the
All
same way, but it's oriented one way, this way in the morning, and this way in the evening.
got it.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but the shape is the same. It's just flipped in the
Okay.
morning and the evenings.
I mean, truly, the fact that I haven't paid attention to that is just stunning to me. Like why they let people like me drive, right? I haven't been paying attention. How many times have I seen a crescent moon in my life? And
Well,
if you had pushed me on it and said, "Is it always crescent the same direction?" I would have been like,
well,
let's
the
flip a
the truth
coin."
is though is that 95 times out of 100 you see it in the evenings, unless you wake up at 4 a.m. and go
Oh,
outside. So it almost always is open to the left when you see it. Because you're
okay.
just not up in the morning looking at the moon as often as you would be in the evenings.
Isn't that okay? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that helps. So maybe I've been assumed, but honestly, if you'd said to me, do you always see it the same? I wouldn't even have remembered.
right.
So thank you. That's gracious of you. But that's not the problem. The problem is I didn't even remember which way the thing faces, let alone what a gibbous moon is. All right.
Yeah.
Your Sid meteor shower peak, December 22 to 23.
Yep. Ursid meteor shower. So we have meteor showers. We have a series of them every year, and they always come at the same time of the year. Certain showers always come at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that is it's kind of cool.
Hmm.
Comets come through the inner solar system occasionally,
Okay.
like Halley, for example.
Yeah.
And when they do, they get little dust bits and ice bits ripped off of them by a solar wind. Radiation from the sun sort of removes the outer layer of the comet. It's basically a ball of ice. Think of a comet as a ball of ice
Okay.
with some dirt in it. Dirty snowball is sort of how to think about it. When out in space, when sunlight hits it, it removes some material from the surface of the comet, and that material kind of floats around in space, right,
Hmm.
along the path of the comet,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
And
Okay.
once a year, sometimes for certain comets, the Earth passes through that cloud of gas, I mean, that cloud of dust
Ah.
in its orbit. Every year, it passes to the same point, and when it does so, all those little bits of dust and ice burn up in our atmosphere, and we get a bunch of shooting stars.
All right. So they know that these pieces have already fallen off the
Yep,
comet. They're still
they're out there.
sitting there,
Yep.
and they are going to then, when the Earth gets close to it, the Earth's gravitational pull starts pulling these little
No, the
pieces.
Earth literally moves through the cloud of of dust.
Okay, so when we see a shooting star and it looks like it's coming toward Earth, it's really not. We're just passing.
We're passing through it.
We're passing by it,
Yeah,
through it.
yeah,
Huh.
that's right. It's the Earth motion.
So a meteor that somebody finds some meteor remnant on the Earth,
Hmm.
that's not the same thing as what we see when we see shooting stars. Because I guess I've assumed we see these shooting stars and that stuff coming down, hitting the Earth, and someday somebody might go find that piece out there somewhere. But that's
Well,
not
yeah,
what a meteor
well,
shower is.
yes and no. Typically, with a meteor shower, these are little super fine pieces of dust. So
Okay.
those won't make it
Oh.
to the surface, but there are also leftover uh, meteorites. I mean, meteoroids out
Oh.
there and little chunks of
Okay.
rock from the formation of the solar system that are also out there. They have nothing to do with comets directly.
But that's not what's in a meteor shower per se.
Right. A meteor shower
Oh.
is objects in a meteor shower typically will not make it to the surface because they're not big enough.
But we can see them from the sky. Like we see
Yeah,
them because
they burn
they're
up. They burn up in the friction of in the atmosphere. It
we're
just burns
seeing
them
them
up.
burn up.
Like when the space shuttle re-enters the atmosphere, it gets hot, right?
Yeah.
Or same thing, but it's for a little bitty chunk of rock or dust.
So as we move through this dust that's out there,
Yeah.
those dust particles come into contact with our atmosphere and
Yep.
burn up, and
Yep.
that's what we're seeing.
Yep.
Hot dog. Look
Isn't
at
that
that.
great? And
Hey,
so,
everybody, just pause for a minute and let that soak in what you learned today. And if you already knew that, I hope you've been telling your friends what a meteor shower is.
and they're
Can we
called
talk
the.
about what a golden shower is? Because I hear Trump talk about those, and I'm not sure if that
I think those are not related
not
to.
related,
And
unrelated. Okay,
yeah, my knowledge may be incomplete, but
okay,
that's
yeah.
my understanding.
What a classy
It's
guy.
it's yeah, I know to bring that into our political
Pardon
discourse.
me. Yes, pardon me.
It's called the Ursids because the way that it works is that all these meteors appear to come from the direction of the constellation Ursa Major, the Big Dipper.
Oh, that's where they've derived the name.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
right. The Earth is moving in the direction of that constellation
okay,
that time of year, and so that's the direction from which all of these uh, uh, shooting stars seem to come. They radiate outwards, kind of from Ursa Major, but because
wow.
the Earth is moving towards that constellation, so that's the
Yes.
direction that it looks like all the meteors are coming from.
All right. So if you're, 22, 23, after the days start to get a little bit,
Just
get lighter, a
tiny,
little bit longer,
just tiny bit.
tiny bits, go out and watch this happen. All right. December 26, 27, cold moon.
That's I guess that's just what they call that moon. No, that might be the 13th moon of the year, actually.
Cold moon. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be the
I've never,
13th
I've
because you can.
never heard the phrase.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike wants to ask one more question on the shooting star. Do you have any idea how big the dust needs to be in order to become a shooting star and show up? Like,
Well,
do we have an idea of the diameter?
I don't
Or
know
if you measured them in the
what.
size of a camel's toe, as we probably would do in this
Yeah.
world.
I don't know what what the minimum size is, such that we could see it with our eyes. Certainly, these things occur that are too dim for us to see with our eyes from that
Okay.
distance. So that's one issue: is what you can see with your eyes. But I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I know it can be pretty darn small and still be visible, smaller than you might guess. But I don't have a number I can put on it. I mean, think of a piece of dust. You sit in your room, you see the sunlight come through the window, and you see dust floating around. That's what I'm talking about. Something like that.
Small.
Yeah.
That small comes, it hits the atmosphere, and somehow you can look up and see it, and then make a wish, and the wish comes true. Because I don't
That's how it
exactly know
works. Isn't that weird?
how that piece works. The wish coming true. Hey, you made one comment. I'm circling back to this, and we'll drill down on it as they do in business meetings.
Drill down.
You said the solar wind. You used the phrase solar wind, and then said, so when the solar radiation impacts these, I guess it's maybe a astrophysicist way of using the word wind. Is
Yeah.
solar wind really just solar radiation, or is
Yes.
it? So how is it windy? Are the
No,
waves radiation?
it's not wind. That is just a way of using the word wind. It's not a wind in the sense that you and I would think of, like,
Okay, wind. Yeah, every
right,
other time we use the
but
word.
but it is a stream of
Okay,
high energy light and charged particles, electrons, protons, and that sort of
okay.
thing, flying off of the sun, and that's what rips material off the surface of comets.
I swear, every industry, religion's really big with this. Of course, politics. I'm new into music now. Uh, Physics is solar, physicists just come up with things to trick people. Just words. Like, let's just use words that don't really mean that thing, because then we just. I think somewhere subconsciously we're just pranksters, and this is what goes on. Okay. Anything else? I know we've got to kind of keep moving here, but anything grab your attention? The peak of
Let's
the quadratis, the best,
quadrantids,
yeah,
the
the best
quadrantids.
winter meteor shower is
Yeah,
going to be on the 3rd and 4th.
yeah. It's another comet. It's
Okay,
I can't remember which comet produces it, but
okay.
yeah.
A new moon. I
New
know
moon.
some
That means,
people really get into new moons.
is that right?
Oh baby, if there's people around trying to become impregnated or not, they're thinking. A lot of those people are encouraged to think or don't think about the new moon. Just things. It's new moon cycles, and
This
I'll
is
tell
a
you,
conversation that my wife and I have, and we've both given up
huh?
on this discussion. She works at a hospital,
Okay.
and she claims that more babies are born, more people are admitted to the hospital,
Yes.
more weird stuff happens at the full moon,
Yes.
especially with the baby thing.
Man, I'm telling you, people in hospitals and emergency rooms and psychological treatment centers and wards are all like, "Oh, you guys can tell us whatever you want. We're telling you, it
That's what
happens on the
that's
new
what I'm
moon."
telling you. You know, it doesn't matter. Like,
Like they staff up for it, right? Like in staffing meetings,
do
they're
they?
like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah." I mean, I know places that do. I know police forces that think about
But
this stuff.
they've actually done, like, research on this, and there's absolutely zero evidence for it.
Fake news. Fake news. I don't know. I'm just telling you, people plan for it, they staff for it, they arrange for it. I know
Do
people
you
who go
know
to
this as a matter of
psychologists.
do you know this as a
Matt,
matter of fact, or is this just, like, anecdotes?
that they staff up for it, or that it's
Yeah,
legitimate. Oh no, I know for sure that people staff up for it. Yeah, yeah. I know that I've been told that by people. I mean,
by people.
I have not run my own studies by people who work in those areas. They're like, no, like I'm a nursing lead, and we make sure we have more people around in the maternity wards around these moon cycles. Like they're like, because we're gonna have more babies. We know this is what we know.
I'm gonna have to look into this
Yeah,
more.
it is, dude.
It's
It
been
is
10
something.
years since I've done it. I need to look back again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so anyway, get yourselves ready, or be more like Paul and don't worry about it. When the new moon comes on January 11th. Saturn nearing the waxing crescent moon in the evening sky. Is that something we would see? Are they
Yeah,
claiming
yeah,
this is
that's
going to
something
be a
you would
good?
see, and you'd say, "Hey, what is that by the moon?" Because it'll be a really bright planet, really bright. It'll look like a really bright star right beside the moon.
Yeah,
It'll be cool.
it'll be cool. But the moon moves around, right?
Yeah,
In the sky, like a different. Sometimes you'll see the moon in the morning.
yeah.
A few hours later, it's like, whoop, what's it doing over there?
Yep, yep. It
Still
moves around.
totally, still totally confused about the, why and how it. Uh, the positioning of the moon in relationship to the Earth is something that is obviously predictable. I'm
Yeah,
guessing people who can
yeah,
predict it. I
yeah.
can't figure out the pattern, or like we'll go out and be looking around like, where is it? Oh, it's over there. Like we're searching for my car fob that I've set down somewhere and I don't know where it is. It's just it could randomly be about anywhere. Is what it feels like.
I bet if you committed yourself to 2 months of consistent moon watching, you
Oh,
would figure it out pretty quickly.
huh.
If you stood in the same place every day, you know, and waited for the moon and sort of watched the moon and
Okay.
so forth. It comes up about 50 minutes later on average every day, 50 minutes later than it did the day before.
Does it always come up in the same part of the sky?
Somewhere in the east. but not always in exactly the same. Just like the sun, not always in exactly the same location in the east. It depends on the time of year and its phase and so forth. But it rises in the east and sets in the west, and stays in the southern part of the sky most of the time, just like the sun does. So,
wow.
In other words, if you actually really like made a point of doing it systematically, you would figure it out pretty
quickly. Jim reminds us that for him, as someone who has worked in Santa Barbara County Jail, full moon staffing because more people will call in sick. They do increase their staffing in these places. Sorry, Paul. Look,
no,
it may have no impact.
I'm going to do my own research.
Hey, it may have no impact on the actual behavior, but people do organize around it. Those are two separate things, right? Does it actually do things to the human behavior or bodily function?
Yeah.
Is one question.
Yeah.
Do people organize around it because they believe certain things happen? That's different. And those two may be correlated, and
they may not. Right.
Yeah, they may not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. These all sound like 1970s song lyrics. The Venus nears the waning crescent moon. Mercury nears the waning crescent moon.
Dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. Great band. Great song. Anything in here about Saturn and Mercury and being near the crescent moons and all this? Now, I'm just talking about for an astrophysicist, not an astrologist, because I bet if we brought on an astrologist, they'd be all over all of this stuff.
They would tell us all about why this is important. Yeah,
there would be more interesting factoids to some of those folks. I'm just
no. Most of these are just not nice coincidences or happen-sos or just things that if you were to be out in the walking around and you were to look up, it might draw your interest.
Okay,
even somebody who didn't look at the sky regularly or didn't know anything about it, they'd be like, hey, that's cool. What's going on? That's sort of the level that we're at here. Hey, Leap Day.
All right.
We got Leap Day coming up.
Oh, we do?
In February. Yeah. I'm jumping down the list a bit here.
Oh, wow. February 29th, Leap Day. So the people, if you have friends that were born in the leap year, don't forget that birthday. Like, don't let Facebook remind you that on March 1st that it was your friend's birthday yesterday, which they've had to wait 7 years. Is that how long it is for the little math trick that we have to do to make things work?
What do you mean 7 to?
How often do we have a leap year? Is it
4 years?
4 years. Every 4 years.
Yeah.
Also, how is that? How did we have to add 1 day every 4 years to make sure the sky and our calendars stay in sync?
It's just because when the Earth goes around the sun once, one full trip is around the sun, it doesn't rotate exactly 365 times.
Sure.
It rotates 365 and a quarter times.
But the fact that it was even enough where if we just add 1 day every 4 years, now we're pretty close to on the
pretty close. We still need to adjust a little bit because it's not exactly a quarter, but it's really close. So yeah, but because for example, every 100 years, in the year 1900, was not a leap year. It should have been, right, because it's divisible by 4. But the rule is that that's not a leap year.
Huh. That helps the adjustment a little bit more.
Right, it helps adjust it a little more. Yeah.
Huh. Well, Alex says that she was married on a leap year. Probably saved a lot of anniversary dollars over there.
Yeah, really.
Cut it by a quarter.
Yeah, I had a couple of friends, and when I was in elementary school, I have 2 friends who were twins who were born on 29th in 1968. Yep.
Hey, you think there's ever twins where one of them is born 11:59 p.m. and then the next one is born on?
I am certain that has happened. It had to have happened many times.
Twins with different birthdays.
Yeah.
I wonder what they do. I wonder at the hospital if they're like, hey, look, let's bump each one of them a minute. Especially when watches were a little less, specific.
Yeah, whatever. What's a but now it'd be completely ambiguous. Yeah.
Yeah, when someone takes a birthing photo and they're like, hey, Your birthday is you are a
Yeah.
leap year kid, and the one baby is born on leap year, so then only gets a birthday every 4 years, and then the parents have to
Right.
be like, "Sorry, kid." I mean,
Your your twin is 16 and you're only 4.
yeah, you're just you're just lucky you weren't born in 2000, or we would have skipped you altogether. You wouldn't even have had a birthday. Um, all right, uh, boy, I'd love to know that story if there were twins or multiples of any number that were
There'd
born
have to be.
at the
There have
over the change of a day over
Yeah.
a minute. It's fantastic. All right, what's a snow moon? I'm
It's just another
unfamiliar.
name for like the cold moon, the wolf moon, the harvest moon, the snow moon. That's all.
Okay, what do you know? It says the smallest full moon of
Oh,
2024.
yeah, okay, that just means that, when it's full, when the moon's orbit is elliptical, so sometimes it looks smaller in the sky because when it's further away than when it's closer, and this happens to be the full moon of 2024 where the moon is furthest away, so it looks smaller to us. It doesn't actually shrink.
And because of the elliptical nature of the orbit
Yeah,
that it's sometimes further away.
yeah, yeah.
It doesn't just appear further away; it is further away.
Right, it is further away. It
Okay.
literally is. It's 2 or 3%. It's not that much. Um, but it is. It definitely looks a little smaller when it's further away. Yeah.
All right. The zodiacal light in the
Oh,
western sky
that's
after
that's
evening
that's
twilight.
that's pretty good. I'm not sure why this is
Wow.
special for this year, but zodiacal light is the solar system itself has a lot of dust in it compared to other places in space.
Our sun space between sun and Earth has more dust than.
Yeah, just think of the solar system as a big disk, right? Because
Okay.
it's all the orbits are in roughly in one plane, right? So it's like a
Oh,
big disk. In that
so it's like
disk
a
of the
flat. It's like a flat solar system,
right, right. Think of it as like
like the
all the
Earth.
planet, all the planets orbiting in the same plane as the Earth. Yes.
So you could have a flat system that's orbiting and rotating like the Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
flat.
all the planets are in the same plane.
I'm going to try that joke one more time. So it's flat like the Earth is flat and still
Sorry,
orbiting.
I'm sorry.
If you don't know, Paul and I for 15 years have been joking about the flat earthers.
My humor antenna is maybe a little
No, you were on the you were explaining the coolness
yeah,
of the flat
yeah,
solar
yeah, yeah.
system with
So
non-flat objects in the flat solar system.
so have you seen those pictures of like the flat like the flat Earth and then all the other planets are spherical? It's like
No,
because I mean think about it, all these flat Earth people, right?
sure.
Think the Earth is flat, but obviously Mars and Jupiter are not flat; they're round.
Be-
So we're special that way. So it's only
yeah,
like we're the flat planet.
nice,
Everybody
nice.
else is spherical.
Right, because
Anyway, in that plane of our solar system, okay,
okay.
uh, it's there's a lot of dust and
Mm.
stuff left over from its formation, stuff that produces shooting stars. Okay,
Ah.
it's all in that. It's roughly all spread out in this plane. And in late February, when the sun goes down, that plane is pretty straight up
Oh.
on the horizon, and the sun reflects off of some of that light. I mean, reflects off of that dust, and so you can see a little bit of that of the sunlight reflecting off the dust. And so
Wow.
what you see is very. You have to be in really dark skies to see it, Doug. Really dark, but you can see the reflection. It looks like a little glowing line in the
Ah.
sky. Yeah.
Have you seen it before
I have
yourself with
never
your own
seen
eyes?
it. I've never seen
Hmm.
it.
But you
Very
believe it.
rarely do I get into skies dark enough to see it.
Yeah. Huh.
Living here in this light dome we call Atlanta.
And it's called the zodiacal. Is it zodiacal?
Zodiacal.
Zodiacal. That sounds better
Yeah,
than zodiac,
yeah,
even
yeah.
though it's because I can see why they wouldn't want to call it that in light of the killer and all. But
That's
zodiacal,
not what I was thinking about.
the zodiacal light of the western sky after evening twilight. Like seriously, if that's not the name of a poem or a name of a collection of poems, someone on February 26th to March 11th should write a series of poems with that title.
They should. I agree with
That's
you.
that's on the money. All right. So then we had the gaining gibbous moon, and now we have the waning gibbous moon.
Yep.
It's the
Yep.
same gibbous moon.
Same idea. Yeah, but this time it's near a bright star, really bright star in the constellation Scorpius. The star's called Antares. It's a nice red giant. It's a really, really bright star.
Wow, beautiful. Can we see it at all if you look out
Oh,
if you don't have a fancy camera?
oh, you don't need anything fancy. Even in Atlanta here, I can just walk out in my front yard and see it. It's very bright. So
Does it look
having the moon right beside it will be really, really nice
does it
to
look
see.
red?
If you look at it and then glance around at other stars, you can see the contrast. But if you look straight at it without comparing to other stars, it might not look red to you.
Okay.
But if you look at it and then look at 2 or 3 other stars and then back to Antares, it will look red. You'll see the difference. Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
Fantastic. And then we're almost up to the new moon.
Yep.
So then March 10th we're at the new moon, and then March 19th and 20th we're to the spring equinox. So this little calendar of happenings kind of goes, generally from the winter solstice
it's a
to
3-month.
the spring
Yeah.
equinox.
Yep. 3-month deal.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Is that a whole pattern for like the moon and stuff to move in that 3-month pattern that's different than the other moon
No, the moon does not
cycles?
stay necessarily. No, I mean, the moon will go through all those same cycles, but they're not going to go through them at exactly the same time every year.
Hmm.
So, the fact that there's a new moon on March 10th, I mean, next year the new moon may happen on March, 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So all those cycles happen, but they don't happen in the same at the same times
Right,
of
right.
year.
Because the moon's cycle is based on it orbiting the Earth, and the Earth's
Right.
cycle is based on the Earth orbiting the sun.
Right, and there's not it's not like a 2-to-1 ratio or something. It's not simple like that. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
But that snow moon that they were calling it there on February
Yeah.
23rd and 24th, is
Yeah.
it called the snow moon because it happens in February and there's snow around and like
Yeah,
that?
I guess so. And
So maybe
like
that would
harvest
have
the
some.
harvest moon happens in September, so yeah, they're named after.
So
And but
meaning that the orbit of the moon is close in the harvest moon
right,
and far
right.
away in the snow moon does correspond always to the Earth's positioning around the sun?
I think the snow moon is always the second full moon of the year. It's by which one's first.
I
So
see.
the first one has a certain name, the second one has the name snow moon, and the one that happens like 9th or 10th is called the harvest moon. You get what I'm saying?
But it's also further away for the snow moon and closer for the harvest moon, that second moon of the year or ninth moon of the year.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How many
No,
moons of the year are there? Are there
12 or 13, depending on how they fall.
Okay.
Like this year, it looks like we have one in late December. If you go back to the previous list, there's a full moon in late December. I'm guessing that's the 13th of the year.
Okay.
Because it's like it's right around Christmas. So that's pretty late in the year. So it makes me think that that might be the number 30. Yeah, December 26th, 27th.
The cold
The
moon.
cold moon. Yeah, we
now
may
I
not.
see why they call it the cold moon.
We may not get a cold moon every year because we don't always get 13 full moons in a year.
Huh. Boy, I know people are super into moonology and not the Moonies. That's a different religious group completely. There's probably people that are fully into moon stuff. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
Do you know what they call it? Maybe someone in the chat knows what people call it if they're into moondom.
I don't know, but there's a lot of people who sort of border on sort of the pagan religious lines that are really into this kind of thing.
They just have so much material to be.
They got a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty great.
It's great. Yeah, I love the calendar. I love have these cross quarter days like Samhain and and like May Day and things like that. that fall. Those are the cross-quarter days, are the days that fall in between successive like equinoxes and solstices.
Yeah,
So
but
they've
it's
got 8
reminding
of
us
these a
that
year.
it's reminding us that Hanukkah begins at sunset today. So
Yeah, and that's a lunar thing, I think. I think that's based on a lunar. That's why it moves around a little bit every year.
Yeah, it's one of the movable lunar holidays, like Easter. Unlike Christmas, Christmas is a non-movable holiday. Easter is a movable
Right.
holiday.
Right.
The
But I think Hanukkah,
person,
I don't know how they date Hanukkah, but like the Arabic calendar, like the Muslim calendar is lunar. And I know the Hebrew calendar is lunar as well. I'm not sure if the date of Hanukkah is purely a lunar thing. You know, like the pilgrimage to Mecca changes. That's based on a lunar calendar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think? Not to make you into a cultural anthropologist and
Yeah.
astrophysicist, but why do you think so many civilizations use the moon as opposed to the sun for their calendaring?
I think because it was easier. At least my guess is, and this is just total shot in the dark. Like I say, you know, I'm not an anthropologist. I don't even play one on TV. But my guess is that the cycle of the moon is so much more obvious than the cycle of the year, and it's predictable, and you know, it's also a shorter time, and so I think it's just all a little bit more intuitive and easy to measure.
But it's also more random.
No, the lunar cycle, the phases, it's 29 and a half days. I mean, it's
sure, yeah,
the
but
phases
the
are really
fact that like
regular.
a holiday, if you base a holiday on a moon cycle, it's going to
Right.
move in the calendar
Right.
to
Right.
be at different times. Sometimes it could be in
Right.
the summer. Some,
Right. Right.
that's what I mean by it's more
I got you.
random to the human
Right.
experience.
Right. But that's only random because we use a solar calendar. Because you and I use a solar calendar.
Okay, fair enough.
You see what
Fair
I'm
enough.
saying?
Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, so yeah, yeah. But it's also because the experience of the sky, like all
Right.
the other experiences to the human being are different. The weather is different at different times of the
Right.
year.
Right.
Like
That's
those
true. You
things are
know.
super noticeable.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Like that. So that pilgrimage sometimes happens in the winter. You know, it's called the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca.
yeah,
It happens sometimes in the winter, sometimes in the summer.
yes,
That just cycles on through.
right.
But Hanukkah, for example, it's probably lunar based, but that kind of stays in December, right? It
Yeah, it's
doesn't drift.
connected to somewhere
Yeah.
like Easter. Like it has to
It feels
be
like Easter. Yeah. Yeah.
because it's got other parameters around. It's the
Right.
full moon after the something or
Right.
another, and this is and that's, and there's
Right.
ways to keep track of it. Um,
Right.
hey, by the way, the
Mhm.
word lunatic comes from the loon.
I hear you. I hear you,
You see
Doug.
what you see again?
I hear what you're saying.
I'd forgotten about that, but somebody wrote something in the chat and it made me think about the Luna.
Yeah.
And the Luna Bar, if you've never enjoyed a good Luna Bar, are a terrific little,
I have
health and health.
never seen a Luna
Luna.
bar.
You've never seen a Luna Bar. Next time you're at the grocery store, look around. If you're in
I
that
will.
section where they sell those things, sometimes by the
Power
cash
bars and
register.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The like the meal replacement bars that are like $4 a bar. What exactly is in here? Because there's not a meal. Uh, uh, but anyway, they're and Luna bars are quite delicious if you're into that sort of thing. Or when you're out
Oh,
birding, hey, when you go out and you got to stick something
yeah.
in your little pack,
Yeah.
try a Luna bar
Yeah.
sometime.
I will do it. I will do
Yeah,
it.
I think they're great.
And the
Great.
name is great. The
Yeah,
name is outstanding.
yeah. I don't know what the squirrely prepper style.
So
Do you know what that means?
I know what Soylent Green means. I don't know what the
What does
squirrely
it mean?
prepper lifestyle. Soylent Green's that thing from that movie. People were eating this stuff called Soylent Green, and it
Oh,
turned out that Soylent Green was like people. Like
oh,
it's just some horror movie. I can't remember what the name of the horror movie is.
okay. Well, you and
Uh,
the squirrely prepper
oh, I
lifestyle
see.
have
I see.
similar.
That's the name of the person is the squirrely
Yes,
pepper lifestyle.
yes,
Got you.
yeah.
Who was in that? Was it Charlton Heston?
Oh, wow, old school.
No, I don't think it was him. It was somebody else. Anyway,
So it says the
that's
Jewish
all I got.
calendar adds a leap month, so things
Um,
stay more static from year to
yeah,
year.
okay, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Yeah.
So every once in a while, they just adjust it all.
Yeah. So it stays stuck with more or less with a solar calendar. Yeah.
I'm this thing I've always loved about the leap year. Anytime we have to be outed for the workarounds that make everything function that we don't like to acknowledge, I just think it's a good reminder that's that everything is not that star nebula in 432 where everything functions according to a mathematical principle, and it's just all locked in. Nothing's like that. Even things you think are like that.
Yeah, we have names for that in physics. We call it a fudge factor. You just stick it in there to make things work. You don't really understand it, but if you stick it in there, it works.
Yeah. So just throw that in there.
Hey, it was Charlton Heston. I was right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edward.
Yeah, Edward
knows people.
Edward knows what's up.
What movie was that, Edward? What movie was that? I think it seemed like the word. I can't remember what the name of that movie was. Anyway, it wasn't Soylent Green. It was something else. It was another name.
Oh, and Burgess Meredith, apparently. Jim is chiming in too. And boy, I really hope that both Edward and Jim and Squirrely Prepper Lifestyle knew this right off the top of their head and didn't have to Google it. I hope they knew who was in a Charlton Heston movie, because that's
Burgess Meredith.
That's deep cut material right there. And the movie title is.
The movie title is Soylent Green. Okay, wow. I had thought for sure that it wasn't. I don't know why.
I haven't even heard, I've never heard the word or the movie.
I'm surprised. Surprised. I never saw the movie, but it's like an old. I can't remember where I saw it, but I heard it somewhere.
Yeah. Well, hey, I know you're off to a surprise party for somebody, so you go deliver a surprise, because we all like surprises.
Yep,
unless they come from our oncologist. And then,
and I hope Amy does too. I think she'll be thrilled.
Yeah. Have you ever thrown a surprise party for someone who doesn't prefer to be surprised?
No.
Hey, thanks, but I feel very awkward, and I wish you people would leave. I haven't either, but there have got to be people who have had a surprise.
Well, it's actually kind of a half surprise, because our department, the physics and astronomy department, always has like a casual lunch for the students and faculty at the end of the year, at the end of the semester, every semester on this day. But this is going to be like our normal thing times like 30. It's going to be, so she knows to come. She knows there's going to be a meal.
But she doesn't know there's a slideshow and a song and
exactly
a cake with her name on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what's happening. Well, congratulations on this person's retirement. And if you could at all, commit as much as someone can to making a Soylent Green joke while you're eating something at this party, just for us, just include the little crowd of us who are here at today, some point, you just drop it in there.
I will.
Like when you're looking over the buffet table, just lean over and go like, well, I hope that's not a Soylent Green. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, and see if there's any reaction.
Well, I expected in the room here, I'll get nothing, but maybe you and some of our listeners will get a little shot of happiness just out of nowhere as soon as I make the joke.
Yeah, we'll just know it. We'll just be like, oh, wow, I'm strangely hungry. I should go find a Luna bar.
Oh, he did know it. He did know it already. Edward knew it. Yeah, it came out around the time of the Planet of the Apes and Logan's Run in the 70s.
Wow, I know both those movies and that sort of dystopian thing very, very well.
Yeah.
Somebody missed this one. All right. Well, thank you, buddy. Thanks for taking us on a trip of the skies in 2023.
My pleasure.
And 2024.
My pleasure.
All right. See y'all. Bye.
Bye, everybody.